everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today Soham and I have a very special and interesting guest with you. His name is Devjit Banerjee. He did his masters from United States in Rutgers University, and the good thing is he did a dual degree during his tenure at Rutgers University. So he did masters of city and regional planning and masters of public informatics. So currently he's working for one of the top infrastructure consulting firm in the United States, Arcadis, and he's working as a transit technology analyst. So Soham, you want to describe something about Devjit?
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity for us to host Devjit in our podcast. And Devjit was actually an alumni from our institute, which is IST Shibpur. So we were at the institute during the same time. He's 1 year senior to us. So we are very excited to welcome Devjit to today's podcast, and we're going to learn a lot of things about his field, his domain, and his experience in USA. So welcome Devjit to the podcast.
And also, just one more thing I just want to add, that he also received a funded master's opportunity. He did a funded master's opportunity. So we also will learn from him how to get funding, how to secure funding from your institution, and also he got an internship while he was pursuing his master's. So I'm sure our audience will learn a lot from his experience, his journey, and let's welcome Devjit to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So can you give you a little bit background about yourself for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone. I'm Devjit Banerjee. I am from India. I'm from Kolkata. I did my undergrad in architecture from B College Shibpur. I think we all did it together. We were all in the same time in B College, but we didn't know each other back then. And then I worked there for 4 or 5 years in the domain before eventually moving here to do my master's in city and regional planning, which will probably enlighten the audience upon later.
Great. So you want to add something?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Devjit, for joining us today. So let's dive a little bit deep into how you decided to pursue a master program, or rather why you decided to pursue the masters. And if you can tell us a little bit about the eligibility for doing a master's in US in your program.
Okay, sure. So why I did a master's? There are a multitude of reasons that why I did a master's. One was just because like a Bengali household, your parents eventually tell you that, hey, it's been 5 years. When are you doing a master's? But also why I did a master's so I was an architect. I was working as an architect. The reason I did a master's in city and regional planning is because that I felt very limited in my domain as an architect. A lot of architects would know that architecture, even as you guys as civil engineers would know that architecture, most of the domain is limited to a building, a site. It's about how you design that for your client, whoever they are. And eventually my scope grew, my horizons grew. I thought that I should be able to impact more if I can do something like a planning, which is a very broad domain. So I'd like to take this opportunity to let the audience know about what city and regional planning is. So it's a very broad domain. It's basically about it is a very umbrella field which has in it a lots of different fields inside it. It's basically about how do you plan and design your cities or your urban spaces, let's say. So there's a multitude of different disciplines that go inside to make that program. Transportation is one. Politics is not politics as such, but socio-political planning things that's also goes into that. Housing is one. Environment is a big one nowadays. So there's a lot of different domains inside that one umbrella term, city and regional planning. Economics, economical planning, finance, real estate finance, and all of these go inside that. So that I felt very excited to do that after getting streamlined into that one domain of architecture for a long while, and that's why I just pursued to do a master's. I'm sorry, can you repeat I think the second part of your question I missed.
Yeah, the second part was basically what are the eligibility for that program, for future applicants. if you can say.
Yeah. So I think the eligibility, there is no, at least from the university that I did, and I think it's like, which I actually didn't know about, which I got to know about later on after coming here, is that there is no set eligibility as such. In America and US, I've seen that especially in grad school programs, they generally, if it's a computer science or if it's a very, very streamlined, very like tech oriented program, you would require some eligibility. But at least in my program, where you can choose your own specialization. You can choose like a specialization in environment. You can choose a specialization in data analysis. In that limited to that domain, I feel that like there is no need for like an eligibility. In fact, they encourage people from various diverse backgrounds so that they can bring in diverse perspectives in that discipline. So while city and regional planning, everybody who's doing in India, generally they have either done a bachelor's in planning or bachelor's in architecture. Here or geography. I'd say geography is a big one as well. But here I've seen that there is no set eligibility of you need to do this, you need to do that. It's just like you just need to be interested in the domain. So I'd say that if anyone who wants to do planning, who has like a background in journalism, let's say, even they can do that. And there is one guy I know from India who was, I think, the cohort just below me. They did it. He was, I think, a journalist, and then he came here to do planning, and I think he's doing pretty well as well. So there is no set eligibility to anyone who wants to do this, but an architecture or a planning background would, or like a civil engineering background, these things would slightly help if you already have that mental space of thinking about society and like urban design and all of these things. So it will slightly help, I guess.
Wow,
Great,
that are
good.
some really great insights. I mean, this is like pretty new to me actually, because like we are from India, and basically in order to do masters in some field, you have to have some undergrad in some particular field. Otherwise, you don't have the option open. But that's really great, and I think as long as you have a statement of purpose that justifies why you're taking the course, I think that's what the grad school is looking for. That why is this person interested in this course, and how will this person benefit from it and apply
Exactly.
it in his career, right? So that is some really, really great insight. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Shant, you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a great insight, as Soham rightly said. And for our audience, we also want to mention that Jagdija did his MS from Rutgers University, if we haven't said it before in the introduction. So, okay, so your MS college is from Rutgers University. And so from what we gathered from you, that you have your dual degree masters, right? One is on masters in city and regional planning, and one is on public informatics, the dual majors. So why did you do a dual degree rather than a particular area? Like did you find it interesting? Like what made you do a dual degree?
Okay, if I'm honest, I could have done without the dual degree. One of the major reasons, I mean, if just anyone's looking specifically to do a dual degree in Rutgers, it's just like for them. Whether I have learned from it, yes, I've learned a lot from doing a dual degree, or like doing both the programs together. Whether that has helped me to get a job, I don't know, maybe. But I probably could have done without it. The comment was just because that it's not required for you to get a job. It was not required for me because both of my programs were STEM accredited. A lot of people might know about STEM and how that helps you get a more 2 years additional work authorization. So both of my programs were there. So it was not like required for me from a perspective of getting a job or doing something else. But I did it 2 reasons. One was I got into Rutgers. I was really interested to learn more than anything else. And 2 is I had a scholarship. I had a full scholarship, so I didn't really care about like an additional 6 months or a year that took me to do the dual degree. That hey, I'm going to have to pay from my pocket to do that. So I think both of those helped for me. So like from a very like a. It was mostly to learn. It was mostly to have more additional courses and have those courses in my portfolio, to have those projects that I had to do for my courses in my portfolio, so that I can show for later that I have done a plethora of things. It's not just transportation, or it's not just environment. I also have a data analytics skills of those. I know the softwares like Python and all of these stuff. So that was my initial thinking about why I went for the public informatics course as well.
So just a add-on question I have here. So can you give a little bit about what was there inside that public informatics domain, like what it involves?
Yeah. So and this, my answer would probably, I don't know, it might club into your next question, your other questions about why I chose Rutgers as well. Is public informatics is basically, for those who don't know, it's basically data analysis, applied data analysis for challenges in the public domain. So data analysis can be anything, right? It's just analyzing data. We can analyze mostly as people, or big companies use it to target personal data, to target advertisements to them. Public informatics is analyzing data that will solve public challenges, and there can be a lot of public challenges, like how much water would you need, how much solar energy would you need for the next 20 years to help a state or a province sustain, or a city to sustain. It can be there can be various challenges. A lot of people a decade ago, it's been there for a decade or so, and a lot of, I think, researchers at MIT initially realized that, I think around 2011, 12, they realized that they're social media and through users of cell phones, we are producing a lot of data, which can then be used to solve these challenges, to know that where something you guys, I think you guys are in transportation field as well. So you would know that travel demand modeling, and to understand that how and where people move, travel behavior, that's very important to know, to plan for those services so that people don't face issues like congestion that our cities are facing right now. And those are the things that traditionally was done from just measuring, surveying in different roads, which are extremely cost intensive, I'd say. But people found out that that can be done from GPS cell phone data. Everyone's using Google Maps. So you can use that to understand that when, why, and where people are moving. That's how Google Maps shows you those red line and yellow lines. But so that's a very common example, but there can be a lot more detailed and nuanced examples there as well. So that's essentially what public informatics is, just studying. You need two things for the domain. One is obviously an idea of what those challenges are. You don't need to be a computer scientist for that. You just need to know that, okay, these are the challenges that the world is facing and will face, and what are the things that we need to do to solve them. What public informatics teaches you is that this is the domain of planning. What public informatics teaches you, that if you want to do a quantitative study for that, you are aware of the tools, you know how to use the tools to come at the solutions. So that's what public informatics is. And that's why I said that why I chose Rutgers. That question might get clubbed in if you plan to ask me that question, is because I realized that Rutgers had, I think Rutgers at that point was the third best. That's by a survey. I saw that it was the third best grad school program for planning. And one of the reasons I realized what it was very forward thinking. It had this public informatics program from 2017, which even now a lot of schools over the world and in the US don't have. There are probably 50, 80 schools in the world who do that right now. So I realized that can be something that would help me, because everything is big data now. You need that tools to you need to know these tools to solve these problems. And Rutgers might help me to learn those skills. So that's why that's what public informatics is, and that's why I chose Rutgers as well.
Great. No, I mean, a very good answer that you gave. I think our audience will greatly benefit from the detailed explanations that you gave regarding both the city and regional planning and even the public informatics, both the dual degree. So just because when we were conversing, so you just said that you got full scholarship. So that was, we did not know it. So can you give a little bit about how you secured the scholarships so that our audience gets some benefit out of it? What was your strategy behind to get those scholarships?
Okay, so I don't So I don't think I had a strategy. My strategy was, obviously I talked to a lot of people about how they got scholarships. I had a friend who studied on the same program a few years before me. So I asked them that who are the professors that, because obviously we know that SOP, statement of purpose, is a big thing. A lot of your applications, a make or break is like judged based upon your SOP. So I talked to him about what his experience was. Who are the professors who like to work on research projects? What are the research projects that gets carried on in the school? So it's very important, what I realized talking to a lot of people back when I was applying for this master's program, that it's very important to customize your applications. You can't have you can't have a SOP that, hey, I want to change the world, or I want to solve this environmental problem. The world is facing this. You can't do that. There are schools, and every of these US schools have funding, and every of these funding is tied to some goal that they want to achieve. A funding might come from a governor association to solve, let's say, hurricanes. New Jersey, I know New Jersey is very big on coastal resilience and environmental challenges, because they have faced Hurricane Sandy a decade ago, which they're still recovering from, to be honest, in a lot of ways. So a lot of funding for New Jersey schools, Rutgers is a big school in New Jersey, comes for those sort of projects. Transportation, trying to increase density in American cities is a big challenge. So a lot of fundings in those schools come for those purposes, for those projects. So professors who are doing those projects, they would want to intake candidates who have the skills to do that, and B, wants to do that. So if you tailor your projects towards the professors, towards the research projects that are going on in the school, towards the professors' interests, then I think you have a better rate of succeeding. Your application's better rate of succeeding. Obviously, the larger overall, a good GRE score, or probably over 310 or around that, or probably something like that, helps. Something like overall, all of these categories, I think TOEFL, I think I had to give a TOEFL, probably someone had to give an IELTS. Things like that, a good score, 8 or above, or I don't know what the TOEFL score was, I don't remember at the top of my head. So those are the things that you will have to be at par with the median or more higher than that. But I think tailoring your SOP, customizing it for different schools you're applying to, that is very crucial as well. And I don't know what helped me, but I think that was part of it.
Great. No, very good answer. Thank you so much for sharing your journey regarding how you tailored your SOP towards a particular project.
Yeah,
so that you increase your chances. Soham, you want to add something? Go to the next question, maybe.
Yeah, I think Devjita, that is like a great approach, I would say, because here we all know that SOP are so important, and you have to, as you said, one application does not fit every purpose, right? So you have to tailor it very, be diligent, do your research basically, and see what exactly this program is, what are the different opportunities, what professors are doing, and which research is emerging, which research has funding.
Yep.
Tailor. So that is a very, very good suggestion, I would say, for all the future applicants. So thank you so much for that. And basically, let's move a little bit into the the work experience, the culture, basically, right? So you have worked both in India, and now you have started working in US, right? So how would you say is the work life compare in India compared to that in US right now? So since you have best faced both, right?
So I'd obviously from most, I've heard podcasts like these. I have heard talks like these as well. And I think most people, at least what I have heard, is that the work-life balance in US is a bit better, or things like that. People respect your personal space and opinions. Maybe it's true. I can't really comment on it, even though I've worked in both countries. The reason is that in India, I've worked in the architecture domain. Architecture domain in general is hard to work on, because design challenges design can change, and it takes a lot of time to change it. Nowadays, there's these generative AIs and stuff. I'm not sure how many architecture firms are acquiring that, and using that to create their designs. But even when I was there, there was not even a word, like nobody realized that ChatGPT might be a thing.
Right.
And what I hear from some of a very few colleagues that I had who are working in the architecture domain in here, they say that they still have to do late night shifts. They still have to work more than 40 hours that they are supposed to work. So I think it's more about the domain rather than like a difference between approaches to work between two countries. Because at the same time, I have my sister working in IT. I have a lot of friends working in IT in India, and they don't work. Like there will be some days that they have a client deployment, they had to deploy a backend software application. I don't know, whatever they do. But in those days, they might have to work on Saturdays and Sundays. But I don't see them working more than 40 hours, even inside India. So it might be a corporate thing. It might be a domain thing that has led me to. But now at my present job, I'm very happy that nobody even tries. Even the manager, nobody even tells me to hey, you have to do this now, and that's what I've done. They would try to say, hey, fine, you take your time, but you do the job properly. So that's been nice for me while working 4 or 5 years in architecture. People who don't know, architecture in India demands 6 days a week from you of work. Some architects would give you the Saturday as a half day, and they would brag about it, that how lenient they are. But so at least from that experience, I am very happy that what my current company is providing me. But I can't really comment on whether how much of a difference that is, simply because I've not worked in the same domain in those countries.
I think that is, very rightly pointed out, because the domain is very, very important in determining the work hours, even in, US, Canada. So there are, certain professions which does require working more than 50, 60 hours a week. And there are certain professions which doesn't.
Yeah.
And so that's again true for India, as you rightly said, that, people who are in IT or, in fields which have, dedicated 40 hours a week, they don't need to work overtime and, stress out, right? But certain areas, like for example, in civil as well, the company that I worked in India also had 6 days working week, right?
Oh yeah.
And 10, 12 hours a day. So that was a very, very long working week. But yeah, that's a good, I would say, a way to think that it's more about the domain and not about, the country specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shant, if you want to add something to that.
Yeah, so we have a next question about how the job opportunities. But before that, as we were speaking, so let me just ask you one more question. That you got your job through campusing, you went through that process of resume sending. So can you just also you got an internship before you got your full-time job, right? Can you walk us through a little bit about how you secured those positions in internship and your first job in United States, how you land those positions?
So I landed those jobs through just traditional LinkedIn searching and applying. However, I'd like to take this opportunity to bring to the fact that there's no campusing as such in the US. They would just they would have tech career fairs, but it will just be companies coming and giving you a demo, rather than what we know about in India, where you will just go through an interview process in a day and you'll get the job at the end of the day. That's nothing like that. They would just come in some universities, but mostly in computer science and all of these fields, they would just come. A lot of big companies will come, but they will just come from the point of introducing themselves to you, rather than and you can take that opportunity to know the person as well, but it's not geared up towards that, hey, we are coming to hire this much candidates, and at the end of the day we will have this many candidates. So that's not the prevalent norm here. The prevalent norm here is for you to know, for you to network, for you to know a lot of people in different domains and especially if you want to work in a field or in a company, you have to know them, you have to build a relationship with them over time. And that requires a lot of planning and effort from the time I would say, if anyone wants to land a job here now, I'd say that come focused with that challenge, that mentality that you should come here, and apart from your schoolwork, you should also start to network with the people in the profession that you eventually want to land up in. So that is important. And I didn't do that from the start, but I did that eventually, started doing that. However, it's just in my case, I know a lot of people who have gotten job offers from that networking and all of that as well. But just so it happened in my case that both of my internship and my job, I didn't know anyone in there. Nobody referred me as well. I just like plain simple applied, gave the interviews, and got selected. However, after getting this job, I think I got a phone call from another firm, which I didn't even interview for, which they were just looking for someone. And I had, over the past 1.5 years, I had kept touch with various employees of that firm. And I think they realized that, hey, this guy Devjit might be a good candidate. We need these candidates. So even if I didn't have a job, that 1.5 years of relationship I built with folks in that company might have helped me to get a job. So that is very crucial for anyone looking for a job.
Thanks for your answer. So like for the next question, so how does the opportunities in US compare to that of India? So like we have seen, like people say that opportunities are more in US, or sometimes we say opportunities more in India. So in your domain, or in the domain that you're currently working, how are the opportunities?
So this is so as I said, that since I was not in the transportation domain in India, it's slightly harder for me to say that how the opportunities are there currently in India. However, I at least just from LinkedIn community, I feel that there is a lot of work there as well, especially since I don't think that there are many transportation planning programs in India. So the limited there's probably one in IIT, there's probably one in SPA, and the limited there's probably just 100 to 120 people doing that every year. So based upon that, I'd say the opportunities are there, at least for those 120 people to 200 people in India as well. In the US, currently, there's a lot of work opportunities in this because, as we know, I don't know how long the effects will be. The industry has, whoever I speak to in the industry says that there will be eventually a slowdown because of the recession that will come, but it hasn't come in the year that I am hearing these conversations, that I'm having these conversations about. So I don't know how long that will last. It's mostly spiraled from the huge infrastructure bill that, fortunately, Joe Biden, the current administration and the US government passed. So there is a lot of work there. Now, not sure how long that will last. So I just want to make sure that a person who's seeing this video and applying, when they will apply for a position there that will be 3 years down the line, I'm not sure how the situation will be or how the job market will be back now. But now it's great. So if anyone is currently in the US or just completing their first year, I think it will still be great for another year or two at least.
Wow.
Great,
so that is really good news for like the current students, right, who are applying in your field. So there are great opportunities there. But hopefully this will last for some time, because the $1 trillion infrastructure bill it's going to take time to spend $1 trillion, right? And infrastructure projects usually are not that fast, right? It's a little bit slow process. So hopefully it's going to stay for a while. So that's great news.
Yes, as you said, so that is correct, that it takes a long time for an infrastructure project to kind of end, right? It at least sometimes it takes a decade for, let's say, a big infrastructure project to kind of get implemented. So so that is very good. And Devjit, so one question that I have regarding this transportation industry that you are right now, so what are the certifications in your field to grow faster? Like, do you need to have any certification or licenses, stuff like that? Do you need to do those things?
So I don't think so. I mean, look, certifications can only help if you have certifications in varying fields, like a project management certification, like a certification in a data analysis or something like that. That can only help. I don't think there are specific certifications in transportation, the domain as such. And my opinion is that, especially in the US, at least, where I can have an opinion based upon my experiences, I think knowing more people and having a nice portfolio of work in your belt is more important than a certification, at least in this domain. But if you have something, probably do it in a project management thing, because that will, and if you obviously don't have that experience, that can help you secure a position or something, because obviously project management is a key skill in these domains where there's a lot of projects are generally above like around that $500,000 range. So if you have like a project management certification, your time management goes better, and you can probably convey to the person that, especially consultants and all of these folks, you can convey that, hey, I can do a job more efficiently. So those certifications might help, but I don't think otherwise you need. There is a need to do a certification without which you won't get a job. I know in the IT domain you need all of these certifications that my sister keeps talking about like Scrum Master and Agile and all of that. I don't really think that there is a need for that in this field. The people you know, the work you do, the experiences that you have, they amount to more than the certifications. But if you have the time and the will to do it, that can only help you.
Great. So I have just a add-on question. So do you not need the license, like the PE license or those things in this, or you don't need it?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I think I missed your license part. I mean, you don't really need it. Again, there is something called the AICP, American Institute of Certified Planners, or something like that. But there's a requirement to work for 3 years after your, I think 3 years or 2 years, something like that, and then you have to give an exam
3
or
years
something.
And then a PE exam.
Yeah,
generally.
so all of those are there, but again, that's like not really. I mean, that probably counts more into an advanced, like a senior management level position, rather than where I am at right now, where I am an analyst at this company. So I'll probably eventually do that, but. I was thinking, when you said certifications, I was like, what I thought was just like these online certifications that might help. So those you don't require, but licenses eventually, yeah. If you do a planning program from the US, you can get an AICP license, which might help you later on in your career.
Right. Great. Som, you want to add some question?
No, I mean that's true. Yeah. So at some point, you do need those licenses, but as you rightly said, the certifications may not be that relevant for your domain, right? Mm-hmm. So that's probably true for our domain too. In civil or in transportation, in structures, we don't need to do that many of those online certifications, but eventually we need licenses, because like for civil engineering, we need to stamp drawings, right? Unless we stamp it, we can't independently do a design, so we need to stamp whatever we do. We need to stamp that. So that is very, very important in civil, structure, transportation as well, but not so much certifications, right? So yeah, so that's very greatly explained. Let's now kind of wrap it up and go with the last kind of question. So any suggestions for students or professionals who want to follow your career path, or do a master's in US or want to move in US? Any suggestions for them? Yeah. So
I'd say don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it depends. Like, I'd say a lot of people, I think I just have one suggestion. A lot of people, you'd find a lot of videos like this in YouTube advising you about their experiences on journeys, and you can learn from those. Mm-hmm. But I'd say the one suggestion that I'd give is just be very true to yourself about what you want to do and why you want to do that. Because you don't want to move to a country just because you have an idea of how that country is. US, Canada, UK, wherever you go up, there are different cultures. US, Canada specifically, very vast nations, very diverse nations, very like different states, different cultures. We have an idea about New York and everything. Where you end up going, if you go up, fine. If you go in Fordham University in New York, fine, you'll go in New York. If you go, even fortunately, I was in Rutgers, which was close to New York. But if you go in Kansas, the experience that you will have will vary vastly from what you think that you will have. So what will come in handy in those, that if you know that why you came here, if you really want to choose a career that if you really want to go for that career, then you won't have a problem wherever you come up with, because at least you're doing the job that you love. At least you're studying the things that you love. So don't just move just to immigrate, just to think that, hey, I'll live in the US for a while and all, because the excitement will last for a few days, and after that, it'll, like, your day-to-day life, you'll have to cook and clean and all of these stuff. So that will end up catching up with you. So I'll suggest that you know what you want to do. You choose a domain, you choose a university wisely, research your universities well, research the places you want to live well, and then take a decision. Because that will help you. That will help you a lot. It's not just that you'll have to live in the US. If you are good in your career, if you know what you do, there's scope everywhere. Companies, everywhere. Globalization is not a new process now, and it will not end anytime soon. So your job opportunities and your opportunities to live will not be like bordered or bounded by just your immigration status or something. If you are good in your field, you can get a job everywhere. Even India is growing right now. You can go back to India after pursuing your master's here, or doing a job for some years, and then you'll probably have still a pretty nice salary and a nice life to live on. So I just suggest that don't eliminate the importance that your, like, the field that you want to work for, or the job that you want to work for. Don't eliminate that. Just don't think that, hey, I want to move to India, I want to move to America, or move to UK. Pay equal importance or more to whatever you're trying to do here.
Great advice, I would say. Like, it was really nice talking to you, because you made sure you have back all your points in a very lucid way, I would say, like very, very easy to understand. And that was, I am sure our audience will greatly benefit out of these conversations. They will learn about your master's programs, how you got your job. So everything was so well clearly explained. So thanks again, Debjit Da. And for our audience, yes, Debjit Da has a YouTube channel, DYNT. We will also share that link in our description. So if you want to follow more about his contents, you can always go there. And for our audience, if you like our videos, if you benefit out of it, please like and share our videos and subscribe to our channel. So unless Soham has anything more to say, you would like so.
Yeah, I would just say that, yeah, please also follow like Debjit Da's channel. He does a great work. It's a really good channel, very informative. So please go to that channel, and if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.